Welcome to the Pine Bluff City Council.
Thank you, sir.
November 5th, 2012. We have a public hearing. There's a public hearing to be held regarding the closing of a portion of Clark Drive, 159.94 feet, located between Block 19, Lot 13 of the Eden Park addition to the city of Pine Bluff, and the property located at 903 West 41st Avenue, Jefferson County, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Is there anyone here to speak for this matter or to speak against this matter? This is a public hearing to be held today at 5:30 p.m. on the closing of the portion of Clark Drive and the property located at 903 West 41st Avenue. Has it been closed too? Okay. Do we have speakers for or against on either one of those matters? The closing of the portion of Clark Drive and the closing of property located at 903 West 41st Avenue, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Are there any speakers here on the public hearing regarding the closing of either one of those matters? Hearing no responses, I consider the public hearing closed. Okay. All righty. We have no speakers today, so we'll open council meeting. And once again, let me welcome you to the Pine Bluff City Council meeting on November 5th, 2012. This meeting is called to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Alderwoman Hogan. Here. Alderman Brummett. Here. Alderman Easterly.
Here.
Alderman Stelton.
Here.
Alderwoman Walker. Alderman Boyd.
Here.
Alderman Brown.
Here.
Alderman Mays.
Here.
Alderman Walker's here. All right. Okay, each of you have a copy of the minutes from October 15th, 2012. I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes as presented. It's been moved and probably second that the minutes of October 15th, 2012 be approved as presented. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. And the motion carries 8-0. Ms. Hogan, prior to we going into our committee reports, let me read a letter to the to the mayor and Pine Bluff City Council, dated November 2nd, 2012. Dear Mayor Reedus and the Pine Bluff City Council, thank you so much for the completion of your total pledge of $150,000 to support the Committee Against Spousal Abuse, CASA. It is through generosity like yours that we are able to continue our work to CASA. CASA is committed to ending violence against women and children. We believe that women and children have the right to have without fear of battering physically, emotionally, or financially. We support women as individuals. A completion of your pledge is listed below. And they give the 3 dates that the pledges were due in the year: September 10th, September 2010, September 2011, and September 2012. And the actual dates of payments were, 2 payments were made in 2011, and the other payment was made this year, November 2012. Again, thank you for your ongoing generosity. We at CASA look forward to an ongoing relationship with you. Rhonda Lewis, Development Director, Committee Against Spousal Abuse. All right, thank you. Ms. Hogan, would you take us on into committee reports?
Orders and resolutions prior to the meeting. We're going to take the following actions. Number 1 will be read. Number 1 through 3 will be read the 3rd time. Number 4 will be read the 2nd time. Number 5 and 6 will be read the 2nd time. Numbers 7 and 8 will be read 3 times. We need to go on and do this, waive this competitive bidding with reference to the Singer Theater, and there is no city money involved, it's all grant money involved, that's why we will finish it tonight. Number 9, we will read the first time. Number 10 will be read the first time. And 11 and 12, the first time, then we have,
So, on number 9, I'd like to send that to the committee.
number 9, read it one time, send it to committee.
Yes.
Okay, number 13 through 15 are resolutions, and we do have a number 16 resolution adopting the Department of Economic and Community Development 2013 Consolidated Plan with Rules and Regs as adopted with amendments by the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. I move that this will become a part of tonight's agenda.
It's been moved and properly second that we add resolution number 16 to tonight's agenda. May we have a roll call, please?
Question,
Yes, sir.
does this stay in the committee?
No.
What's it, why is it on the agenda, why is it this down being brought there?
We have a deadline of getting it to HUD on November 15th.
It's got something that hasn't been to the committee yet, for them to even look at?
I think they're going to give an explanation on it tonight to everybody so the committee can hear it as well as the whole council.
When's it have to be again?
November 15th. And our next meeting after that is November 19th.
Well, I think someone from the community development committee should address. That's just my thought.
Yes.
I think it should have come to committee. I understand that it's almost a must now, because we probably stand a chance of losing money if we don't. But I think it's ridiculous that it's something that happens apparently every year, but it still didn't come through committee.
I agree too, I haven't read it either. Let's see, go on.
Okay.
Do we even have any idea there's no way to figure out what's in this thing?
No, let me ask.
It takes unanimous support and
Right,
be added
right.
to the agenda.
Absolutely. Let me ask Mr. Davis and Larry Matthews to speak to the matter. If y'all would, please come up.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, in our briefing exit with our previous executive director, we were told that they had given out the timelines to the chairperson for the consolidated plan. But let me just give you, let me give you specifically what has transpired in our tenure or our time doing to develop the consolidated plan. One, we advertised in the local paper the consolidated plan on September the 19th. It ran in the local paper here. On September the 27th, we had a public hearing here at this facility, in this chamber. We held a public hearing on the consolidated plan. And according to HUD regulations, we have to keep that open, those comments open for 30 days. We did that, in which the last day for comment from the public was last week on the 29th. We reviewed the consolidated plan again, and that's why we were sort of late today in getting it out to the council, because specifically we wanted to make sure that we had everything in place for HUD's approval. As you know, we've had reductions, as in all of the HUD programs, all of the federal programs. We were about $700,000 in terms of CDBG. We are now about $530 or so dollars, and I think on
530,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And in the home program, we were at about $400,000 at one time. It's reduced now to about $339, $350 or something like that. So we wanted to make sure that we were consistent with the efforts and with the direction of HUD, and we've talked to our HUD directors, and we wanted to make sure that we were in line with that, and we have been, and we are, and we feel very strongly that we are on target with our particular budget items.
I have a question. Not to you, but I have a question for the chairman. Are you comfortable with this?
I'm not, but for the city's sake, we don't have any choice.
No, you can come back with another meeting. That's.
Yeah,
Unless everyone agreed to come back to another meeting.
I'll come back to another meeting.
Okay, well then we'll have it.
Well, can you schedule a committee meeting, ma'am, in order that we can have a date and time that if anybody would like to attend that committee meeting, they have? Because I think that's what we're waiting for, a committee meeting.
You weren't waiting for a committee meeting for this?
Yes, we haven't had a committee meeting.
That didn't have anything to do with it. If he wanted it to go to a committee, he could have called and said that, that he needed to have a meeting so that this could be discussed.
Okay, can we schedule a committee
What
meeting?
about Wednesday, Mr. Stetson?
Listen, let me say this.
What time do you?
Next week? Let me say
Yes.
this. Let me say this. If it goes through committee, then it still has to be approved by the city council. So you're trying to have another city council meeting.
Yeah, special call meeting.
Mr. Mayor, Mayor, just add
Yes.
a point.
Yes, sir.
The consolidated plan is just a report to HUD on the activities that we plan to do next year. The numbers and figures can be changed at any point in time. They are not locked in when we present the report. It can be changed. It gives a report of the activities that we plan to challenge next year. The numbers that are associated in the budget may change at any point in time. The fact is that we need to get the letter in, and if there are changes needed to be made or adjustments need to be made, they can be done after the 15th, if that helps any.
Well, go ahead and approve it, and go ahead and run it through, and then you guys have your committee meeting, and come back with recommended changes at the next council meeting.
Sounds good.
Just get it.
Well, personally, I want to do what the committee is comfortable with doing, because I would expect that same respect as in my committee. That people would be, if I'm not comfortable with it, I wouldn't expect the other members to come. So if the committee is comfortable with it, I'm comfortable. But if the committee is not comfortable with it, I'm not.
I don't have a problem with passing it, and then we will have the meeting on Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, what time?
You speak next week Wednesday or this week Wednesday?
Next week.
Next week Wednesday, which will be the 14th? No,
30. Yeah, 14.
14th.
I would take the HUD 15th,
But we're gonna go ahead and vote on it.
We're gonna hold on tonight, and
Y'all go ahead and submit it, but then give them the opportunity then to come back. and
That's-
Make any changes.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, so the committee meeting will be at what time?
10.
10,
It's Tuesday, what about Tuesday for you?
Tuesday the 13th. No, I gotta meet, that's my meeting, that's the one meet after that.
What time you meeting?
My meeting is 10, at 10 o'clock.
You need an hour?
No, it depends on what comes before. Huh?
So we- At 10 on Wednesday.
10 Wednesday, okay.
10 a.m. Wednesday, November 14th, the mayor's conference room or over at the community development.
Community development there.
Ms. Walker?
Yes, correct.
Of Community Development's conference room. Okay, thank you. So we have a roll call.
Alderwoman Holcomb.
Aye.
Alderman Grummett. Alderman Easterly. Alderman Steph.
Aye.
Alderwoman Walker. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Brown. Alderman Mays.
Okay. Motion carries 8-0. All right, Ms. Holcomb,
That's it.
that's it? That's all you had on?
Boy, that's a resolution.
Okay. Mr. Brummett, Ways and Means.
Yes, Mayor, the Ways and Means Committee met prior to the meeting. We have 3 budget adjustments that are in your packet. The first one is from the city attorney's office. It's an amount of $7,000 that they need for additional dues and subscriptions for the department. The money is coming from within the budget of the city attorney's department. So there's no additional funds required from the city. Total amount is $7,000. I move we accept this budget adjustment from the city attorney's office.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a budget adjustment in the amount of $7,000 for the city attorney's office to cover additional dues and subscription expense for 2012 in the amount of $7,000. This will be funded internally. Are there questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the budget adjustment, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? The motion carries 8-0.
Mayor, I have a budget adjustment from the fire department. Budget revenue and expenses for Arkansas Community Foundation grant to have physicals performed for hazardous materials personnel. And also to transfer funds for scheduled to unscheduled overtime. As you see, the total amount is $16,000. $10,000 is to cover the physicals that were performed for the hazmat employees, and $6,000 for unscheduled overtime that the department has had. Both items are coming from either within the department or from a grant. I move we accept this budget adjustment from the fire department.
Second.
It's moved and properly second that a budget adjustment totaling $16,000 to cover $10,000 contribution from the Pine Bluff Community Development, Pine Bluff Community Foundation grant to have physicals performed by the hazmat personnel. And also transfer budget funds from scheduled to unscheduled overtime of $6,000. All this is funded internally through the department's budget, so there's no use of undesignated funds. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the adjustment, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposes? The motion carries 8-0.
Mayor, we have a budget adjustment from the police department in the amount of $65,000 to cover additional expense for gas, lube, and oil, which should carry them through the year 2012. Again, this money is coming from within the department, unused $25,000 for auto leases and $40,000 unused salary within the department. So I move to accept this budget adjustment from the police department.
Second.
It's moved and properly second that a budget adjustment totaling $65,000 to cover additional expenses for gas, oil, and lube. It is funded internally within the police department, so there's no funds from undesignated. No undesignated funds being used. Are there questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? The motion carries 8-0.
Okay. As all you councilmen will see, you have a proposed budget for 2013. Each alderman has their copy in front of them, that place at the table. What the finance department, Mr. Miller, will be asking to set up the meetings as soon as possible to review the budget. So those of you that are committee chairmen, please get with Mr. Miller and go ahead and set up your meetings to review the budgets for your recommendations back to the council.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, Stevie, did you provide each council member with a copy of that committee list that you gave us?
Yes.
Everybody has that? Okay, thank you.
It looks like this. It
All right.
should have the different parts of the budget.
Is that in that book?
It's in the book.
It's in the book.
As well.
Okay.
Also, Mayor, we have the audit that was presented to the city from BK&D for accounts report on scheduled expenditures for all the federal grants or processed for the city. And a copy of this will be on file with the clerk's office. And for the record, that's on file if anybody would like to review it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
That concludes my report.
All right.
Move that we pay the bills at the city office.
Oh, thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded that the bills of the city be paid. All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All righty. The motion carries 8-0.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Walker, Economic Community Development.
No report. I did want to, I think this would be an opportunity to find out from maybe Ms. Conaway, did she have time to review the prescription card and give us a report there?
Actually, Raylene Ruth will be handling that project. Just someone gonna let her give you an update when we found out so forth.
In regards to the prescription discount card from National League of Cities, we have already enrolled for that program. Is that better? Okay. We have enrolled in that program. It's an 8-week process, and the card is just designed to help the residents save money. For those who don't have health insurance, it's not an actual insurance card. It's just for prescriptions to receive a discount. So if you do have insurance, and let's say that your prescriptions are not covered by your insurance, then you are able to use that discount card for that as well. What they will do within that 8-week process is send out some proofs of the discount cards, and they also send out templates in order for us to set up a link for the city website that will link to a web page where residents can go and print the card for themselves. And also, once we approve the proof, in about 2 or 3 weeks, they will send a stack to us that we can have available.
Okay. It's my understanding that they will send like 5,000 cards, and I did understand that it wasn't the insurance, that it was a prescription card that will help, because there are a lot of people that don't have any insurance at all, and 23% from a prescription will mean a lot to a lot of people.
The amount of cards that they send out is 20% of your population of the city, and then you can save up to an average up to 23%.
It said 23, it didn't say up to.
It depends on what your medicine is. They have something.
Of course, I understand.
Site and see exactly how much it's going to be.
Okay.
It won't always be 23%. But once we get the cards and we can have some in City Hall, we can place them at the locations like USA Drugs and whoever takes the, everyone here I think takes it. It will have a city logo on it.
Right. Okay.
I looked at it, and it looks like a great program, and I would urge us to get it as fast as we can in place for the ones that doesn't have insurance, because they need all the help they can get. And I'm thanking Ms. Walker for finding that and bringing it to us, and that'll be a great service to a lot of our citizens.
Yes, we've done everything to enroll, and the process now is the 8-week. It's an 8-week limit on how long they.
I'm sorry, you said 8-week limit?
It's
Yeah,
8
it takes
weeks.
8 weeks for them to send out the first initial.
Okay.
I think for the total implementation of the program, it'll be done in 8 weeks.
Ms. Conaway, can you speak to the mic, please? We can't hear you.
I think the program will be done in 8 weeks. It just takes 8 weeks from enrollment until we implement the program.
Okay.
So that's between all the proofs and the cards and everything.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank both of you.
Anything else, Ms. Walker? Thank you. We're going to ask Mrs. Holcomb to, if y'all don't mind, to move up to public safety. We have some officers that need to be getting back on the beat, and we have a couple things to take care of with them. Is that okay with you, sir? Thank you.
Okay, well, go right ahead and make the awards before I go.
I appreciate the council's patience. This is to acknowledge one of our officers, Tamina Smith, today. As we all know, that our officers give 110% on the streets. They work hard and diligently, but I want to say Ms. Smith even works hard after hours. On October the 19th, she was picking up her children from her sister's house, who happened to live in Magnolia Apartments. They had an armed robbery that night before, and she had viewed the video. And after looking at the video, she identified this young man as being the person in the video. She immediately called her shift sergeant, shift lieutenant, who was Lieutenant Hadley, and acknowledged that she had made contact with this individual. Well, come to find out, this was the individual. We also suspect him in 2 other armed robberies here in the city, and we are waiting for those ballistic reports. But I want to present her an award today. So, Mayor, would you come down, please? Ms. Smith? And the award reads, It's a certificate of excellence, and it says certificate of excellence, the Pine Bluff Police Department hereby commends Tamina Smith for her outstanding performance in the performance of your job and dedication to the citizens of Pine Bluff. Mayor.
You got that much room?
Okay. Might need to balance this out over here.
Heard about it.
Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank all of you for your service to the community. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, so you want to complete yours?
Yeah.
Okay, if you guys, okay, we'll let you go ahead and complete yours.
Okay. The Public Safety Committee met today at 3:30 p.m. with all committee members present. We transacted a lot of business. However, the most controversial issue that we discussed was the surveillance cameras. And we had different business people to come in and give some pros and cons. We had Stanley Harper, who came from Whitefield Restaurant. He wanted to know, since it's city-owned, would the city be paying for the camera? We had Ms. Childers, who she was for it and represents the city. Reverend Turner felt that it was imposing something on private businesses that we shouldn't have been. Bob Ivy from Easy Mart. They have cameras and they maintain their cameras, and then I think he has cameras to offer. Brenda Wright from a barbecue place wanted to know a lot about the cost. So that was a lot of pros and cons about the cameras, and I think that the legislation will be tweaked. It is up for the second reading tonight, and I think there will be some modifications. Alderman Steps was here to present his case about the cameras, and he did a good job in presenting his case, and I don't know what modifications he will be making to the legislation. Would you care to speak to that?
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about, I met with the police department, the fire department, and the zoning department concerning the penalties, and certainly we will address that. Chief, if you will come up and y'all give us an explanation about those penalties that we talked about, and I think I need you, Chief Howell, to come up with her, the fire department, to come up with her. And we also had zoning, Keisha, you come up. So we had a meeting with all of them, and they all played a part in the decision that we decided to make.
What we discussed was that initially the inspection of the businesses will start with the inspection and zoning department. We require inspections of any existing buildings or new businesses so that they are in compliance with all city codes to exist in the city. So as a part of that inspection, we will be looking for the security systems, okay? And after they have those inspections and pass, then they will follow up with the yearly inspections by the fire department, okay? If the fire department finds that those businesses are not in compliance with having or being in operation of the security systems, they will forward that information to the police department, and the police department will follow up with the citation after giving them time to come into compliance.
Let's talk about the compliance and the penalty policy.
Well,
You know, we talked about the penalties, and we understand this is a new legislation for all the businesses, so we want to make sure that we are not coming in and trying to rule with a hammer. So we're willing to work with them, at least giving them two warnings and up to 9 days to come into compliance. Well, the penalties we're still talking about, Mr. Steps, because, you know, the ones I think we initially talked about was $1,000. Right, and we know that was too much, so we still haven't worked out the compliance issues with it yet, as far as the fine, what it would be. Chief Hall?
The fire department provides annual inspection to businesses, and that would be our role in helping identify the business that were not in compliance as part of our checkoff of things that were needed through the ordinance. So that was our role, to help identify the businesses that did not have cameras, or they had cameras that were not in operation, and then we would forward that information on to the police department for enforcement. We were just an opportunity to identify businesses that were not in compliance. That was our role in the whole process.
Let me say this. We don't think it's just the police department business for solving crime. We think this is a complete job for all of the citizens here in this city, to help apprehend any criminals that's out there that's committing these crimes. And if we could help keep these police off the street, because it's for the safety of our officers also. And if we can keep them out of harm's way and keep them out there doing some things that we could help them not have to do, then I think it's important. It is for our public safety. I think we need to feel like that when we go into a business, that we want to be safe going in there to do business. And I don't want to impose a hardship on any business out here, but it's for our public safety. And that's all it's about. It's not about a political stand, it's about public safety and trying to help keep these criminals off. I was so glad to hear them say, I hate what has happened already, but for them to be able to see the camera for an officer, to recognize the individual based on what she had seen, and to come back and apprehend this criminal within 24 hours. And now there's a possibility, as I understand it, the same type of weapon that shot the individual out here was the same type of weapon that killed the clerk here. So that might be an opportunity that 2 or 3 cases will be solved based on the fact that they had the camera and they were able to see it. So, and what has been said to me, and I'm sure some of you all have heard it, this has been one of the better proposals and ordinance that has been proposed out here, because it's all about all of the citizens and public safety for everybody.
Okay, thank you. We had some very good dialogue, pro and con, and I hope that we've cleared up some things. Now,
do we need to have another committee, a meeting on that, or
well,
just?
One of the things I think we will, because there was a case brought up about a situation with a steakhouse that only, a small steakhouse here that opens from like 5 to 9, and there were some questions about whether or not they'd be required to have those cameras. And so certainly I think there'll be some things that we could talk about to tweak some situations like that, especially something that come on night not open up to lunchtime and they close and they're going on. So certainly we will make any adjustment we can to try to be less of a burden on the taxpayer.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I missed the meeting, but I was wondering, now, is this just for convenience stores or is it for restaurants as well?
Well, in the ordinance, it says fast food restaurants, and one of the things that we were talking about, so the question came up, why are you talking about all restaurants? And there was a situation came up with one of the small restaurants in a steakhouse that's only open a few hours a day. And so certainly we feel like there may be some adjustment that can be made in certain situations.
The reason I heard you also say about the restaurant at Ryder Field, was that what you were?
Right, yeah, one of the I guess one of the owners of that, he asked the question, since it is city-owned property, would they be required to put the cameras in there, or would the city be required to do it? And my response was is that if restaurants is gonna be defined as one of the entities, then certainly regardless who owns it, we would, if this, you know, but that was something I couldn't answer that because I think that could be a question that should be answered by, our legal staff and after we have some dialogue concerning that.
Okay, the reason that I'm so curious about it because that I was under I had the impression that it was for convenience stores and not restaurants because I've had a couple of people that own restaurants that had asked about it. And they were saying, you know, that, you know, of course, in a restaurant, it's always more than one person. It's a bunch of people in a restaurant at one time. And most time that they are open certain hours, and they were concerned about the hardship that it would cause upon them. And of course, Terry's was one of them.
Right.
And I had said, you know, I wasn't under the impression it was for a restaurant.
The order says fast food restaurants, and so I know that's different than just a standard restaurant. So those are some things that we're going to be able to, I think we'll be able to tweak in this ordinance.
Mr. Steps,
Yes.
in the section 29-2, it doesn't include restaurants such as the steakhouses and like Terry's and RJ's and like that.
Okay.
It doesn't include that.
Okay, I didn't think so, but
It does not. It's not in 29. 29. It's mainly fast food and food, not your like restaurants, like you sit down and eat. I guess restaurants like that, not your fast food restaurants.
I'm sitting there looking at it, says restaurant, fast food, filling stations, all of a sudden it's convenience store.
Fast food and filling stations are the types of fast food and filling stations are the types of restaurants the type of places they're talking about versus like a little steakhouse.
A combination fast food within a service gas station.
Correct.
Okay.
But those people like the steakhouse and Wright's barbecue, they got a letter saying to be here today.
Okay.
They were under the impression that they were falling under this.
Who sent the letter out?
Inspection.
We'll look at it and provide some more clarification for it, but I don't believe it includes them.
Okay.
Well, I think that's the only problem I have with it is to those people that individually own, that are only open, say at noon or for a few hours at night. I don't see we should put that burden on those people.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a place that
The
has
other
a
thing that
drive.
I've always looked at, and
It says in the ordinance.
if people already had cameras, I see where we can make them, but I realize that's a safety issue, but I don't know that you go back and make somebody start putting stuff in businesses when new businesses, I can understand where we would require, any new business would have to put in a camera, but existing businesses that doesn't have them already, they're already, now you're gonna go back and tell them, well, we're changing the rules of your business. Well,
Now, it's not telling them that we're changing the rules of the business. We're encouraging them to put cameras in to help provide public safety. Yeah.
You're gonna find them if they don't do it. You're not encouraging them anything.
Well, I think they're readdressing that
I
fine
don't think you can go back and
situation.
retroactive people into stuff. That's my only problem with
And so-
legislation.
I'm not trying to be funny, but if we don't do any better collecting that than we collect the hamburger tax, they have nothing to worry about.
We should have that next week.
Enforcement,
We will have that on.
enforcement is one thing, but we have businesses who violated the hamburger tax for over years and years and years.
We got legislation coming next
And
week.
they know that they're not gonna pay it, so, but you know, I don't want to put a damper on it. I think you've done some excellent work, and we had some very good civil dialogue today. Even the
Yeah.
people who were opposed to it, it was civil dialogue.
Well, the objective is to find a happy median, some commonality where it can protect the businesses and protect the citizens as well. Keep in mind, the business owners or employees are who's at risk.
Well,
So that's protecting them as well.
But you're right, but the enforcement of laws, you know, I've been involved in making laws for years and years. And if we don't enforce it, we have enough laws on the books to clear up any problem we have. if we put this into action and we don't enforce it, it will be just like the hamburger. We have several restaurants who never pay their tax and continue to operate their business.
With drive-through only.
We got that kind
That's
of
the restaurant.
All right.
Come on.
next week.
Okay.
All right.
Councilman.
Mr. Brown?
Quickly,
Come on.
just in case I don't make your meeting, I'm not in your committee, just in case I don't make it.
Just be that.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think we ought to give a time limit for opening business to accommodate this camera. And we also ought to break the fine down from $50 to $300, $50 to $300. I think 1,000 just, it hurts a person. If you do 50 to 300, I think that, and give them time in between, I think you can get it, more or less, get it, the police or the inspection people can kind of sway along with you, but when you start talking about $1,000, you start talking about.
No, we're not even talking nowhere near that. That's why I said that at the meeting, we had the meeting and we were working out the fine situation, but it's nowhere near those amounts. That's why we had the meeting, I had the meeting with the police department and those other departments, so we could discuss that.
Give a new business time to get it in, because they money may be short of us.
Okay, but you might need to come to my meeting.
Yeah, okay, I just want to say that.
All right, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, Ms. Walker had
I
it.
have one other question, and I'm sorry I didn't come to the meeting.
We're gonna have another.
But I did want to ask about the glass enclosure. Was that discussed?
That we did not bring that discussion up, but one of the things, I guess you can go ahead since you got the floor and mention that, I didn't mention that.
Okay, because there had been inquiries to me, and I know one station is in the process of putting in bulletproof enclosure. And so I wanted to know which would be protective to all of not just the owners, but all of the cashiers and so forth. And I really think it's a good idea, because if they're in a bulletproof enclosure, well, then you won't have to worry about no camera, because they're not gonna get shot. With a camera, you're gonna be looking for the shooter. And with the enclosure, so that's why I was asking, because they was really concerned about it, and I didn't know where they had come up. I did mention it to you. I asked you about it.
All right, thank you, ma'am. We're going to move on, sir, on this matter. We having another committee meeting.
I'm not even finished with my report.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. You got to finish your report.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Okay, hey, thank you for the opportunity. I just want to ask on that same item that if we could, or if we would, look at to try to inquire some incentives or some tax breaks for the business owners.
Right. Insurance companies, and would certainly be the one to, probably do that. But if you're talking about in form of sales tax or something like that, I'm not sure that.
You know, you would open that up to all businesses,
No,
so you can do that.
all business, we're not.
We appreciate that.
We're still trying to draw businesses here. We don't want to put too much of a burden on them, so we
Understood.
suggest.
All right, Ms. Ogle.
Okay. All the other reports, on the police department, they're pretty routine. They have submitted a monthly report, as well as the fire department submitted a monthly report. District Court number 2 submitted a report, and former Weed and Seed, I don't think he had a report as such, but he did talk about his programs, his drug prevention programs, and free income tax season. And the reason I'm not saying a whole lot on each one of these reports is because we have some other items that we need to present from the fire department, as well as from the project manager who's working on the facility, the new facility for the police department. They wanted to do the police department one in the committee meeting, but it was my suggestion that we do it in the full council, where all of the council members would see it, as well as members of the audience that's here and those that's on TV. So, Chief Howell, if you would come first and give us a little update on your presentation.
Before we get started, We're supposed to brought down our monthly reports that had the breakdown between them. I thought we was gonna get that. I thought you ever sent somebody up to get that
That's from the police department.
from the police department. Category breakdown. Go ahead, Chief, I'm sorry.
Good evening. Real quick, let's give an update on the ongoing projects with the renovations of the 2 fire stations and an update on the new construction of the fire station. Stations number 2 and 6.
Chief, you want to kind of bring those out and put them here? Okay, where's the public relations officer? Deputy Chief, want somebody help you? Chief, you might turn them the other way so the cameras can pick them up, I guess.
Yeah, turn it that way. The TV audience can see them. We don't have them made.
That's why we're gonna try and get these video screens in here. You know, get some video things, some technology in here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Come state of the art.
When the figures changed,
As a matter of fact.
All right. Can everybody see that in the audience? Real quick, I'll start with the one on your far left. That is a rendition of the new fire station. It'll be located at the corner of 32nd and Beach. Anticipated construction to start the first part of next year. Real quickly, state-of-the-art, 3 engine bays, which is something that we hadn't had in the fire department just thus far. We can have 3 doors. If you'll notice on the other picture, this one has 2 and a single bay. So that is an upgrade for us, and this will be the first we've had in the fire department to have 3 engine bays. It's state-of-the-art. It's going to have co-ed dormitories, multiple restrooms. Is state-of-the-art when it comes to energy efficient, things of that nature. So this is just a big plus for us. It's going to be somewhat closer to the south end of town than it's currently located at 30th and Ash. So this brings it a little closer to Olive Street, where it can be a little closer to the new development that's going south of town, and response time will be a lot better, a lot closer to a main thoroughfare that's so far in the neighborhood. So it has a number of pluses for us, relocating that station to 32nd and Beach and upgrading its facilities and parking capabilities, storage facilities for equipment and things of that nature. The other station that's being remodeled is station number 2, which is located on Pullen Street next to the cemetery. You can see the back of it as you go down Martha Mitchell Expressway, there across from the Tyson plant. That one is receiving renovations in a bathroom. As I spoke before, once before, it had 1 common bathroom due to the time when it was built. It was male dominated. Now we have females entering into the fire service, so we're upgrading facilities to accommodate both male and female, have separate restrooms. General facelift when it comes to upgrading painting, floor covering. It had a covered porch. We're enclosing that covered porch to make that room bigger. You know, the general common area we call the sitting room, kitchen area, all that to become bigger. So we're enclosing that at both of these stations. They were built off very similar designs when they were built. So the upgrades are very similar. Bathroom upgrade, enclosing the porch, painting. Station 6 here at Dollarway is actually receiving a new roof. It was time for a new roof to be installed. Siding up around the soffit and the edges was deteriorating, so replacing that with siding. Station 2 on the middle had a flat roof, so we just replaced it in the last 5 years, so the roof was in great condition. And then just overall improvements, painting, cleaning, power washing, new signage. You'll notice in all the pictures, we're utilizing our patch. We call it our patch. It's our logo. And that is near and dear to us in the fire department. That patch was designed by late Lieutenant David Curlin. So we try to utilize this patch as much as we can as part of our branding process. Always show remembrance to him and what he did for our fire department. So that is our logo, and you'll see that more and more as we go forward with our new branding campaign to utilize our patch throughout the department. We're very excited with these projects. The 2 remodeling projects are ongoing as we speak. They were out this morning. Getting the preparation of the demolition process, getting all the old items out so we can get started with the new project. So that project is off and running. Like I said, we're anticipating to be through in about 90 days with the remodeling project. So they're both going on simultaneously. So we're looking to be complete with those projects late January. We should be through with those 2 projects. So that's a real quick overview of the fire. And I just like to take this time to thank all of you that voted for the sales tax because this is how this was funded. This is how these projects are being funded, as well as the fire truck. So I just want to say thank you to all of you that supported that tax, because without that, we wouldn't have the funds to do these renovations, and they were long overdue. All of our fire stations on an average are 30+ years old. So they're all in need of upgrading and renovation. So once again, I say thank you for your support. Any questions? Or
No question per se, but you said all the fire departments for 30+ years?
On the average, yes.
Okay, now, you building these last 30 years?
It's new one, yes, ma'am. And the upgrades, we'll upgrade them to last as long as our next 20+ years. I mean, the roofs are going to be lasting that long, and the upgrades. And but just I say that to say that we needed they were greatly in need of attention.
Yeah, I understand. But if we don't maintain them, then we'll
Exactly.
Of course, we won't be around. I won't be around.
You might. You might. You might.
No other questions?
No. I think y'all done some good work. Okay, Mr. Matthews.
No, that's next week.
All of this is very important. Very important.
Good evening once again.
You want to move your stuff? Do your, don't you? This is very time consuming, but I think it is very, very important that the citizens see what the tax dollars will be doing. So I'll let you go on. I won't take up no more of your time. But if you don't mind moving those around.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to let Mazan do a little presentation on them, and then we'll move them around. We kind of wanted to give you a little brief update with regards to all the projects. We know that the fire station is off and running. It was one of the first ones we got up off the ground. But we also have progress on all of the other projects that we are working on. ETC is continuing to work hard on delivering to the city the products that we asked them to do. But at this point in time, this evening, we kind of like to give you a brief update with regards to our last reporting session with regards to the police facility. We've made our reports on the structures that we were looking at with regard to retrofitting the building to meet the police needs. At the request and direction of the council, you asked that we go back and look at new construction, which we did not do in the first phase. So in that process, we have looked at different sites that are located close to the facility with regards to availability, with regards to enough space. In your report, everyone has a copy. Mazan, did you give everybody a copy? What? I'll give him an opportunity.
You gave us one.
Hey, I like to have one. You need to go. Thank you.
Everyone has a copy. In our review of sites, we had narrowed it down to 3 sites that were close proximity to the other sites that we're going to retrofit, as well as command center for the police department, as well as location with regards to City Hall. There are 3 sites that are located in the proposed area. The first one is on Main Street, which is the old Pontiac building that has been boarded up for years. along with the parking lot on the side. The second site is on State Street, which is directly behind the Community Development Building in the 700 block of State Street, which is currently vacant. And the last site is the City Hall frontage on 8th Street between Convention Center Drive and State Street. These were the optional sites that we looked at for possible new construction. They were the most available sites that we felt that were probably most economical to look at. The sites that are located on Main would involve some demolition work as well as acquisition. The site on State Street will involve acquisition, which has not been included in this cost. ETC has provided us a basic new construction cost based on the different disciplines that are involved in new construction. He's also provided a copy of our last projected cost estimate for the 3 different sites that we were looking at prior to the new construction sites. At this point, this is for information as requested from the council to be evaluated to give us directions on which way you would like us to approach the project from this point. And at this time, I would let Zahn kind of entertain any questions and also give you a little brief update on where we are on the other projects.
Good evening, Mayor, council members.
Good evening, sir.
I guess cost estimate is in front of you, and I tried to do the best I could with just the raw site, and so gives you some idea, and there may be less or more depending on the specific site, but the elements would more or less remain the same.
On your pricing down there for contingencies?
Yes.
That 5%, is that 5% of the 1,922,000?
The
subtotal?
5%, yeah, on the, yes.
That's wrong, because it's not 124, it's like...
No, I'm sorry, 5% of 1.9 plus the 500, overhead and profit. See, 30% is overhead and profit.
Oh, okay.
So that's the 5% on top of that. In other words, total project budget before the contingency.
Okay, and your architect fees, 10% is based on that total as well?
Right.
The total all the way down, okay.
That's correct.
Okay, understand that.
And these are all budget items, you know, obviously it'll be different exactly when we start talking about it in a specific. And you know, it actually jives with, I've looked at various databases, both local as well as national, and it falls in more or less in the ball game.
How much money have we got in the 5/8 money for the police facility, you recall?
If I'm not mistaken, Steve, it's about 2.5 million? Oh, 2.3, I'm mistaken, yeah, 2.3.
Police building is 1.4 million.
1.4?
That's what's in the plan was, you know, for our grant funds for an additional $1 million.
Oh, okay. That's right, the fire department bill was 2.3. Yeah, that's right, it's 1.4.
Now, the land is on 8th and State Street, it belongs to the city.
Portions of it, yes, it's a private acquisition, we do own a portion of that.
And you said we have 1.3 million, and the other million, would have to do with grants, make application for grants.
Yeah, but it seems very difficult now with the Department of Justice cutting back on grants for law enforcement building brick and mortar. That might be a difficult thing for us to get now. Especially under the time frame that we're operating under.
Alderman Brumman. Alderman Brumman.
Yes, ma'am.
The instruction, what did we ask them to look at, to come back with us? Was it new construction?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And I guess we have everything but.
We got new construction, that's what he's giving us.
Okay, but,
You're looking at the wrong one, man.
This is,
You're looking at the wrong sheet.
So what does
This
this
is the
one
one.
have to do?
that's the same one they gave us last time.
The last time, okay.
All right.
But this looks like 2.8 million, and we've only got 1.4 to build a new,
And that would be at, the location,
one of these three locations.
One of 3 locations he's given us, yeah.
one of the 3
That's on the sheet.
locations.
This one.
Okay, but we own the property on 8th Street, right?
They said a portion of it.
Portion of it.
The one on 8th Street is the frontage of the Civic Center. We own it.
Yeah.
But the one in the 700 block of State Street, we own partial property there behind our office, but we have to acquire some other property. That is option B. Option B.
But we have enough property that we own on 8th Street for 8th time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. There are some variables with regards to that 8th Street. The fact that it kind of sits in a situation where there are 2-story buildings that are located around it, so a single-story building may not be as aesthetic as that, but we can take care of that in the design, I'm pretty sure.
There's a property down here that leads to, the employment office, that corner. Do we own that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We've been looking at that for another project as well, so we didn't consider it with regards to the police department. We plan to look at that for some other sites for the bond issue improvement.
Okay, I thought that was mentioned at first, that property down there for the police station.
No, that's never been a property mentioned for that.
In none of the committee meetings it was mentioned.
Yeah.
What do you plan to put there?
Well, with the new aquatic center, multipurpose center location, we hadn't made the recommendation yet, but for right now, for the land that we own and for the land that we need, it is the most viable site, but we're still doing studies with regards to it.
So actually, the total cost is still off by 1.4, 1.3 million.
Yes.
From the 2.8.
If we go with the new construction idea. If any other questions, if no other questions, then let me just kind of brief you on where we are on the entire bond issue projects. You've been already briefed by the Chief Howell about the fire department, so I wouldn't revisit that. And police department, as you can see, we're still making progress, but we are not there yet. And we are, of course, time is getting shorter because we have, according to Steve, we have 1 year, probably a little over a year to actually spend the money. So we are kind of in a rush and make some decisions. Right now, we have streetscape. One of the projects is a streetscape project for the Main Street corridor, and that was advertised to select a consultant. We have gone through the selection process. We are in the negotiation phase. We're hoping that within the next 2 weeks to 3 weeks, we'll have a conclusion, and then we'll approve it and we'll get on to actual design. We advertised a drainage project, Dewdrop drainage project, which was advertised, and today was the closing date for the consultant to submit their proposal. So we'll evaluate it in next weeks or so, and hopefully select shortly and start on that project. The multi-purpose facility, and let me just kind of a preview, basically.
Larry, you want to move those over there so we can kind of turn them this way? Or?
Y'all can kind of look at it a little bit. We are still, this is a very much early concept stage. So we are going through that process, and obviously it will be still many more conversations before we can actually, can we put that in there?
Larry, you probably need to, Larry,
Sir.
you probably need to turn it toward the council so they could kind of see that right now. Yes.
This is the site where just a minute ago we were talking about the site next to the city hall on this location. And it's a early stage of concept, and so we're looking at various alternatives, and the committee has been meeting, and we haven't really come to any conclusion yet. In the next several months, hopefully, we will come to a conclusion with the budget and everything else, so y'all can look at it more appropriately. So it's a project in progress.
Where would the parking be for this?
Part of the parking is right here, but a lot of this parking, we're hoping to utilize a lot of the existing parking since they are not utilized. We'll save money, and as we're budget constrained, so it'll give us an existing infrastructure that could be very well utilized without, investing more in the infrastructure.
I think it's used when we have council meetings anyway. I don't know whether it's used any other time because I'm not up here, but I know that it's not in extra parking a lot of times.
Yeah, that's more parking over toward the hotel and the parking lot back right over there in that far distance. Over by the library and also that far distance and over at the hotel.
It's on the south side of the hotel?
Yes,
Can't
south.
use the hotel parking.
Yeah.
We own that.
Okay.
No, we own that. We own that.
They've been blocking it off.
No, we own that.
The parking lot,
Yes, sir.
they've been blocking it off where it couldn't be used for things.
No, Bob kind of blocks that off, but we own that.
They only own that building,
Right.
the hotel does.
Why has
Like
it been
this
blocked
far.
off when?
Because we let Bob utilize it like you see.
Bob Purvis. Yeah. Sorry, they block it off because it wasn't being utilized.
And the other reason they were using it, going across the parking lot as a street.
Right.
That was the main issue, I think.
Right.
I'm sure you will be coming back with many more ideas on that, and we're not quite there yet.
And money's gonna be a huge issue on that as well.
Absolutely,
you know.
and we are very cognizant of that, so we're going through that process. It'll be a phased project. You're seeing the complete project, but it won't be, obviously, we'll have to build second at a time, but the concept is to do the whole thing, so we know, give an idea. On the park side, we have 3 or 4 projects going simultaneously. There are 2 restrooms, one in MLK and one in Region Park. We are advertising, or we have advertised it, so it should be 3 months or so we have those constructed. So that's where we are on those 2 restrooms. The Historic Townsend Park ball field, this is the concept of what we are going to, when it's completed. Obviously, it'll be a phased project as well. We are starting with these 2 ball fields, these 3 ball fields actually, these 2 right here. And we'll rearrange the field how it's sort of oriented. And the main reason is we do have a grant for a concession and lighting. Well, the concession needs to be somewhere centrally located. So that's when we need to kind of reorient the field. So it's in progress. We are hoping, the state hasn't given us the okay yet to proceed to completion, so we're kind of holding off. As soon as the state gives us okay, we'll be done with it. Part of that grant also is the Saracen Park splash park. And that is what right now our concept is, went to the committee, and pretty much this is what we're going with, is under design. And we are again, it's tied to the same grant, so we really can't go and bid till they give us an okay.
Yeah, that's Parks and Tourism.
Yeah,
Who's
Parks
giving us
and
a
Tourism,
gun, yes.
Part of the funding coming from there.
Yes, Parks and Tourism. Mhm.
And the other part of the parks project that we are also involved in is some of the money here is involved in redoing some of the park facilities, including shade structures, playground stuff, parking lots. We are also going to do all of those as part of one, improvement.
That's at Townsend Park.
At Townsend Park, yes. Mhm.
That's pretty much in a nutshell where we are today. And we're making progress, and hopefully you will see some real change by the turn of the year.
Also, the RFQ for the animal shelter.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's going out as we speak.
The final plans have been made on the walking trail, and preliminary plans for King Street improvement as well should be ready by the end of the year, so we will be putting those out for them.
Have you determined the location for the animal shelter?
We're tentatively looking at a site on West 4th.
No, that's 7th.
West 7th, I'm sorry.
The old nursing home.
How about
Yeah, and that's
County Street
Jefferson
Park?
County, yeah, because we're looking to combine it with the county since they don't have animal shelter or services. And they are looking at us doing that there. So that structure is what's being evaluated. And it's plenty of land there. Yes.
Long night, so we'll stop right here. Let's see more questions. Thank you so much.
They getting paid mega bucks to sit here.
Who is?
We just required that spend all of the same thing.
Right.
Okay, that's the end of public safety.
All righty.
I hope that you have been well informed.
All right, Ms. Hogan, would you take us into the presentation of proposed ordinances and resolutions? Oh, gee, what is that, right?
Public health and welfare.
Well, we got a long
Public
time.
works, development and planning, traffic.
Okay, I'm sorry. Public works, public health and welfare.
Health and welfare. We didn't have anything considered for on the agenda, but most of the things that I bring up are public health and welfare. And talk about, as I ride through the 4th Ward and other wards in the city, in the 4th Ward, I see people with trash cans there, their wheels off and the lids off, and some of the damage and like that. And it's a number you can call Waste Management at 939-6963. Just got that from Waste Management. And we've seen a lot of people drag them out into the street with no wheels on and things like that. And we try to be more proactive with that. If I see them or we see them, we try to call in, and Waste Management does a good job of replacing trash cans. So we know winter coming up and it's going to be ice and snow and water. And we don't want our senior citizens or anybody rolling out a trash can around side of their house with no wheels on.
Is that number 870?
It's 870-939-6963. It's 939-6963.
33?
No.
I think the,
870-939-6963. In case you keep in your wards call, they really call about these trash cans. The Waste Management does a good job of replacing wheels and everything. And also the potholes, I know before we try to be more proactive and around the city also. The street department number is 543-5101 to fix the potholes in the street. Once again, thank you all for your time.
all right, thank you, sir. Public Works, Alderman Boyd.
Well, we met on the 23rd concerning item number 3. We recommend to be passed on.
Item number 3.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Also, Alderman Boyd, that was supposed to be a recognition of some employees under your committee report?
My knowledge.
Okay, well, that's what they put the note on mine, so I'll recognize them if you aren't.
Go ahead, because they didn't tell me about it.
They did? Okay, well, you're welcome to if you like to.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, okay, all right. All right, quickly, we have 3 employees that have completed their certification by the Department of Environmental Qualities to satisfy the requirements necessary to meet the provision of the Arkansas Pollution Control and Ecology Commission Regulation 21. In other words, this is asbestos inspection. Is that what this is? Okay. The 3 individuals, and if you all would, please come up. First is Sarah Price out of Community and Economic Development. I'll give these to, okay. Next, we have Ms. Lakeisha Hill, zoning official. Sarah.
Ms. Price?
And also, we have Carla Williams from the Inspection and Code Enforcement Department. They all completed the requirements to meet the specifications. Thank you very much. We appreciate y'all's work. Okay.
You got the bad one.
Okay, is that it, Reverend Boyd?
That's it, man.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Development plan. Yes, sir, Mayor, we had our committee meeting on last week. Item 1, 2, 4, 6, and 12. We recommend to do pass. I'm gonna ask Richard and Ms. Johnson if they would come up and give us some information concerning this occupation type for daycare, child care, and health care centers.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. We met last week. We have been in several discussions with some of the daycares here in the local community. And as you know, the daycares have always exhibited a concern as far as how they were assessed their occupation license. The state of Arkansas basically determines the capacity of a daycare, and that capacity we have always used to assess the fees that the daycare paid for each child, and that rate was $10 per child. The daycare's concern was that on an annual basis that the number tended to fluctuate, and typically, you know, depending on the season or time of the year, you know, the ratio of children tended to go up and down. We met with the Department of Human Services and had a lengthy discussion with them concerning the concerns here in the city of Pine Bluff, and the Department of Human Services agreed that they would provide an average number of children at each daycare in the Jefferson County area. The recommendation that was given to us was that each one of the daycares would be visited on an annual basis at the rate of about 3 visits per year, and the city of Pine Bluff would take at least the last 3 visitations and calculate an average. I'm sorry, I'm kind of stuttering here. I didn't expect it to this presentation. Yeah,
Okay, what they were concerned about is the tax was based on the number of seats that was available. And their concern of it was that, you know, I might have a capacity for 100, but I might not have 30 students, 30 people there. So therefore, they were paying at the full amount. So what we're basing it on, based on what the figures are coming from the State Department, they're on an average, we will base it on the actual number of students that they have, the kids, the people that they have in those daycare, rather than on the capacity. And so they agreed that they were gonna come in here at least 2 or 3 times a year. We would take those numbers and get a population, an average amount, and that's what they will be assessed on actual, rather than on the capacity number. And I think that was some concern that they've had, even the daycare and the health care center. And so we feel like that was going to be a fair way of doing it than the previous way that the state had us doing it. So now I think those people feel very comfortable that they'll be paying on actual numbers or something close to that rather than on the capacity number.
Let me also add that this measure has been looked at by several counties in the Southeast Arkansas area. The daycares not only in Jefferson County, but in the 25 contiguous county area is looking at the city of Pine Bluff and the end result of what we're doing here. Right. So a lot of the outcome here will be adopted by several counties in the area. Department of Human Services has worked very closely with us in getting to this position. You know, in times past, they were certainly in disagreement with us in terms of adjusting the capacity to the average. But they will provide an annual report to us that we will utilize, and from that annual report, we will base their assessment.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this ordinance written up to reflect these changes you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, thanks, sir.
I don't have anything.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. All righty, Alderman Brown, Traffic and Aviation.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Easterly, Administration. Ms. Hogan, sorry, we already had you.
You don't want me again.
President.
Okay. Have an ordinance amending Article 3 of Part 13 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, concerning the basis for calculating the city's privilege and occupation tax for adult daycare and child care centers up for the third and final reading.
An ordinance amending Article 3 of Part 13 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, concerning the basis for calculating the city's privilege and occupation tax for adult daycare and child care centers.
Move for adoption.
It's been moved and probably seconded that an ordinance amending Article 3 of Part 13 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, concerning the basics for calculating the city's privilege and occupational tax for adult daycare and child care centers. All right, the floor is open for discussion. I think Mr. Steps, as well as the collector, gave us an explanation of what this is all about. Are there any comments or questions regarding this matter? Hearing none, all in favor of the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposes? Okay, the ordinance carries 8-0.
We have an ordinance providing for the rezoning of certain territory in the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, 1115 Commerce Road, up for the third and final reading.
An ordinance providing for the rezoning of certain territory in the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, 1115 Commerce Road.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that an ordinance providing for the rezoning of certain territories in the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, specifically 1115 Commerce Road. Each of you have the information regarding this. It's going to committee.
Yes.
Yeah, and committee's recommendation was to support this. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposes? The motion carries 8-0.
I have an ordinance consenting to the change of control of the cable television franchise up for the third and final reading.
An ordinance consenting to the change of control of the cable television franchise.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that an ordinance consenting to the change of control of the cable television franchise. This is where Friendship Cable of Arkansas, doing business as Southern Link Communications, owns, operate, and maintain the cable television system serving the City of Pine Bluff. And they are looking to be acquired by Sequel Communications Holding.
This in no way affects the Pine Bluff cable arrangement. This is totally different.
Yeah, no, it doesn't impact our franchise agreement with them, no. We maintain the same franchise agreement. Is that not right, Ms.
That's correct.
Scott?
Maybe like a change of power. And I had a phone call was actually they changed some of the programming. And that was just something some of the citizens asked.
Would they change some of it?
Well, as far as a few things on the cable channel.
Tell them to direct that call to Pine Bluff Cable, please. Those are the ones that can address that.
Right. I just thought I'd ask because some citizens called me and asked. That's what
All
I'm
right.
saying.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposes? The motion carries 8-0.
Have an ordinance to close a portion of Clark Drive in the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, up for the second reading.
An ordinance to close a portion of Clark Drive in the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Place it on the calendar. Have an ordinance providing for the reimbursement of police officers and firemen for the expense of repairing and replacing uniform and turnouts damaged or destroyed in the line of duty, up for the second reading.
An ordinance providing for the reimbursement of police officers and firemen for the expense of repair or replacing uniforms and turnouts damaged or destroyed in the line of duty.
Place it on the calendar.
I think that's actually supposed
Have an ordinance requiring certain commercial establishments to install and maintain surveillance cameras inside the stores for protection of the public and employees, up for the second reading.
An ordinance requiring certain commercial establishments to install and maintain surveillance cameras inside the store for the protection of the public and employees.
Ms. Oakham, I wanted to ask Mr. Steps if we wanted to send this to another committee meeting.
Yeah,
particular
on
ordinance.
the, is that the 13th?
13th is,
Yes, 13th.
13th, okay. 13th, what time, sir?
10 o'clock.
10 a.m. 13th in the mayor's conference room.
Yes, sir.
November 13th, 10 a.m., committee meeting regarding this.
Okay, what committee?
The, development and planning.
You're welcome to have it, but it is a public safety issue.
What take?
No, I don't know.
That's right, yeah.
But that's okay.
Well, why don't y'all have a combined meeting?
All right, that'll work.
Okay.
Okay.
November 13th,
Okay.
Then when you want to
10 a.m.
10 a.m.?
That'll work.
Okay.
Forward.
All right, okay.
We have an ordinance waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Reynolds Construction Company of Whitehall, Arkansas for improvements to the Singer Theater roof and declaring an emergency, up for the first reading.
Whereas there is
No, move, suspend the rules.
So, yeah,
We're gonna read it 3 times.
3 times.
We suspend rules, place on
Yep,
second reading.
suspend rules for adoption
Okay.
before we read it. 3
We're
times.
gonna make it quick then.
I mean, before we suspend the rules.
I'll vote.
All right, well,
Stay in your corner.
Can we do 7 and 8 together then?
I don't know, can we do
What's the
them
difference
both together?
No, you better do those
Huh?
separately.
We'll
Separate.
read them both together if we do that.
separate.
Do I have to do them separate? Okay. All right, let's start over again.
I want everybody to stay in your own corner.
Stay in your own lane, that's what it is, stay in your lane.
Corner. Okay. Okay, we have an ordinance waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with the Reynolds Construction Company of Whitehall
Right.
for improvements to the Singer Theater roof and declaring an emergency, up for the first reading.
Whereas there is need for additional improvements to the roof of the Sanger Theater, and whereas previous work on the roof has been performed by Reynolds Construction Company of Whitehall at a reduced rate, and whereas the company has agreed to perform the additional work at a reduced rate and is already familiar with the structure, and whereas employing Reynolds will ensure that the warranty given on its prior work will not be affected or avoided, and whereas under the circumstances, competitive bidding for the work will be inefficient and impractical.
Move to suspend the rules and place ordinance on second reading.
Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Holcomb.
Aye.
Alderman Brumman. Alderman Easterly. Alderman Steph. Alderwoman Walker. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Brown. Alderman Mays.
An ordinance waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Reynolds Construction Company of Whitehall, Arkansas for improvements to the Sanger Theater roof and declaring an emergency.
Move to further suspend the rules and place ordinance on third and final reading.
Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Holcomb.
Aye.
Alderman Brumman. Alderman Easterly. Alderman Steph. Alderwoman Walker. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Brown. Alderman Mays.
An ordinance waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Reynolds Construction Company of Whitehall, Arkansas for improvements to the Sanger Theater roof and declaring an emergency.
Move for adoption.
It's been moved and probably seconded that ordinance waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Reynolds Construction Company, Whitehall, Arkansas, for improvements to the Sanger Theater roof.
Which one?
And declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mayor, I think there's a mistake in the dollar figures in both of them. In this ordinance. I have to defer to Mr. Tucker, but it refers to a contract for $5,000 of rentals, and I do not think that's correct.
No, it's
14,700.
That's for Reynolds Construction.
Right.
So we can just do 14,000.
If someone just moved to amend it, should put that in.
Okay. You moved to amend,
Yes.
Mr. Easterly?
Yes.
Okay.
So we went from 5,000 to
4,700, sir.
14,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, 14,700.
The other ones.
We'll amend the original.
Yes, sir. And the reason for that is that the 5,000 was simply a placeholder figure till we actually got the correct figure, and it just slipped through the proofreading process. Your proofreader didn't catch it.
All righty, all in favor of the amendment as presented, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? Okay, now the original as amended from 5,000 to 14,000. Huh?
Move for the original as amended.
Oh, okay. It's been moved and probably seconded that the original as amended be approved. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
This for Mr. Tucker. What was the amount that was given to Alderman Steps Committee?
I thought it was 14,700. That's what the amount maximum for Reynolds is going to be.
That was the amount, 14.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the original as amended, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? The motion carries 8-0.
Move for the emergency clause.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Hope.
Aye.
Alderman Brumman.
Aye.
Alderman Easterly. Alderman Stepps.
Aye.
Alderwoman Walker. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Brown. Alderman Mays.
All right, the motion carries.
We have an ordinance waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Robbins Engineering PLLC of Little Rock, Arkansas for the structural assessment of the Singer Theater and declaring an emergency. Up for the first reading. You just read the title.
Okay. An ordinance waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Robbins Engineering PLLC of Little Rock, Arkansas for a structural assessment of the Singer Theater and declaring an emergency.
Suspend the rules and place the ordinance on second reading.
May we have a roll call, please?
Alderwoman Hope.
Aye.
Alderman Brumman.
Aye.
Alderman Easterly. Alderman Stepps.
Aye.
Alderwoman Walker. Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Brown. Alderman Mays.
An ordinance waiving, I'm sorry. An ordinance waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Robbins Engineering PLLC of Little Rock, Arkansas for a structural assessment of the Singer Theater and declaring an emergency.
Move to further suspend the rules and place the ordinance on third and final reading.
Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Hope.
Aye.
Alderman Brumman.
Aye.
Alderman Easterly. Alderman Stepps.
Aye.
Alderwoman Walker. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Brown. Alderman Mays.
An ordinance waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Robbins Engineering PLLC of Little Rock, Arkansas for a structural assessment of the Singer Theater and declaring an emergency.
Move for adoption.
It's been moved and properly second that ordinance waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Robbins Engineering PLLC of Little Rock, Arkansas for a structural assessment of the Singer Theater and declaring an emergency. Floor is open for discussion.
Is the amount correct on this one, $7,000?
Yes. 7,000 is the correct amount.
It
for
is the
this
correct
one.
amount. Yes, sir.
Got that right.
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? All right, the motion carries 7-0. Now we have an emergency clause. 8-0, I'm sorry. 8-0. Emergency clause, Ms. Hunt.
Move for the emergency clause.
May we have a roll call, please?
Alderwoman Hope.
Aye.
Alderman Brumman.
Aye.
Alderman Easterly.
Aye.
Alderman Stepps.
Aye.
Alderwoman Walker. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Brown. Alderman Mays.
I'm not really sure what this is.
The motion carries 8-0.
Okay, we have an ordinance authorizing a short-term financing agreement with Pine Bluff National Bank to acquire 4 police units and declaring an emergency up for the first reading.
Let me read the title, Miss. What am I reading?
Yeah, the title of them.
Excuse me, did we decide?
Send that to committee.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to ask. Okay, is that an emergency? Do we need to do that tonight, Chief? Okay, all right. He just had on there, emergency. Okay. So we're reading the title the first time and send it to the committee.
An ordinance authorizing a short-term financing agreement with Pine Bluff National Bank to acquire 4 police units and declaring an emergency.
Okay, it's going to committee.
Yes. Public safety. Oh, Ways and Means, one or the other, both of you. Both of you.
We all on one.
Okay.
Okay. Have an ordinance amending section 19-27, 19-30, and 19-31 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas regarding provision of the retirement system of the City of Pine Bluff, up for the first reading.
An ordinance amending sections 19-27, 19-30, and 19-31 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas regarding provisions of the retirement system of the City of Pine Bluff.
Okay. Send to committee. Is that already been?
What I'd like to say is that in each one of the, what do we got? 2 more meetings, 3 more meetings to get this done?
Right.
We'll have a Ways and Means Committee meeting before each council meeting. If anybody wants to ask any questions, please bring them over to that meeting, so we have at least 2 chances for getting questions and anybody's got to answer before it comes to the time to read.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I do have some questions.
Okay.
I'll say that. Okay, we have an ordinance amending the zoning code of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Is that number
Temporary
11?
housing for emergency services, up for the first reading.
An ordinance amending the zoning code of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, temporary housing for emergency services.
Okay, send to committee.
Okay. That's all right. Yes.
I had a different.
That goes to committee. I think that goes to,
Planning and development.
Yeah.
yeah,
Tell my zoning.
Planning and Development, sir.
Okay. We have an ordinance to amend the ordinance to close a portion of the alley located in the block of 18 of Eureka Heights Addition between West 13th and Lee Northwest, up for the first reading.
An ordinance to amend the ordinance to close a portion of the alley located in Block 18 of Eureka Heights, Edition Number 4, between West 13th and Lee Northwest.
Should they go back to the committee?
Well, it came before my committee, and here's what was discussed. You know, before we had passed that, I talked about waste management, wastewater. They have no problem with them, with the closing of it, but they cannot build anything or put a fence or anything there because their lines run across there, they need access to them. They say but if they put a statute there or plant anything there, if they have to go in there and damage it, they will not replace it. But they have no problem with them, with that being closed, except for the fact that they need access in there. They don't want no fence and thing put up there.
Well,
In other words, they can go in there and plant some grass, they want to plant some grass, they can beautify it, they can give no statutes.
no, I put a fence, so that's why I'm a little concerned about that from a point of view that whether we want to even address it in that sense that we pass it.
As long as you got it in the ordinance, that the provisions there, I don't see no problem with it. They didn't have any problem with it, except for the fact they can't put no fence there.
Okay, I see, together the rights except those specifically set forth below in and to the portion of the alley designated as follows.
Right.
Okay. So, this should cover all the aspects of the things that I know, Ms. Hill, Ms. Hill, would you mind coming up on this matter, ma'am? Right.
Is that what they were trying to tell us?
Cool, Mike.
Right.
Okay, can you discuss this matter with us to the point where y'all's recommendation?
Well, Waste Management, Wastewater said that they didn't have a problem with it being closed as long as the easement expressly stated that you can't build anything, place any permanent structures in there. If they do any improvements to it, such as clean it out and plant, beautify it, they won't be responsible if they have to go in and service that line. So if they go in and put some grass in that's expensive or plant flowers, then it's at the risk of them coming in and servicing and taking it out. They won't be replacing anything. Can't put any fence or structures up, so.
Okay. Is that all that they want to do? The property owner? Or
I don't know.
property owners?
I don't know to what extent they wanted to do, but
Oh, well, let me suggest that you notify each property owner in that vicinity that's adjacent to the alley and let them know the limitations that they have. We should provide some type of documentation to them, letting them know that. Is that okay?
that's fine. And actually, if you all gonna go forward with the ordinance, then they can receive a copy of this ordinance because it expressly says this.
Right.
Okay,
That'll be fine.
all right. Thank you.
You might want to put this in the box.
Okay, are there any, oh, we sending that, no, what are we doing with
We
this?
send it,
Okay, this is an amendment, so we send it to committee. Okay.
Mayor, while we have a pause here,
Paul?
I would like to, instead of having the public hearings the way we've had them, we'd like to go back to the old system with the zoning department, the way they was handling it. I think it's gonna save a lot of time because they're very familiar with the process, and it's gonna save the legal staff a lot of time and heartache and headache. So we'd like to go back to the way we've been doing.
Okay. Yes. Well, okay, I think Ms. Hill has a comment there. Did Mr. Tucker leave?
You commanded me to.
But he commanded me to do so, just like y'all commandedly took it from me. Look, we discussed it, and actually, it still has to come before the council, right?
It will still have to come before the council, but essentially the mayor can order zoning to continue with the duties that they've already, they already had, the responsibilities they already had. And then at the end, it will come before the council for a public hearing. The statute requires it to come before the council,
Yeah,
but.
so it won't, you still won't have any shortness in your time frame because now that they have recognized this statute says that you all have to have public hearing and run the advertisement. So without the planning commission having the right to have public hearing and run the advertisement, basically what you're asking for is a recommendation, okay? And you don't need to go to the planning commission for a recommendation because Jerry George, who is the planner, gave a recommendation to the commission. So we would just be taking it through extra steps to bring it back through you that way. So what you should do is just ask that a recommendation be given to you by the planner. And I will continue to do the beforehand work of notifying utility companies and find out if they have any, any objections to the closings. So you don't have to go back through the step of the planning commission now, just because you have to do the public hearing.
Okay.
You just need to ask Jerry to give you a recommendation.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
we have a resolution directing that the finance department include in the 2013 annual budget a sum of $100,000 for funding of the youth summer employment program.
A resolution directing that the finance department include in the 2013 annual budget the sum of $100,000 for funding of youth summer employment programs.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and probably seconded that a resolution directing that the finance department include in the 2013 annual budget sum of $100,000 for funding of youth summer employment programs. Floor is open for discussion. Mr. Miller, would you kind of come up and give us some idea of what's previously in there and?
Yes, sir. The budget does include $100,000 in expense for the summer youth program, but $50,000 of that, is funded from revenue from outside sources, grants from the county, waste management. I don't remember all the contributors. So net, the city is out $50,000, but there is $100,000 appropriated in the budget that's in the book.
Excuse me, that's not what I mean. there is $50,000 in there. We get money from other entities. We have had problems with getting the monies in a timely fashion from a couple of entities that I would not name. And Mrs. Conaway spent the summer pulling her hair out, trying to make these payroll, waiting on this money. So what we need to do is have the $100,000, and if by chance those people do put that in there, then that's well and good. So that's not the intent. We can't depend on people who say that they're going to give us money, and we haven't gotten it from one entity as of yet. I don't know if we have it spare, but I think we need to look at working it in. And it says put it in the budget. It may not even pass, but we want to put it in the budget. Once we get it in the budget and we have a summer program, then everybody when they go out to campaign, and I supported the summer program, and I supported the youth program. You put that part of your portfolio, and it's been like pulling teeth to try to get money from certain. It's two entities one of them did very well at first, but now they're too slow. And we can't operate like that. And we say we want the children out of the street. We want to give them work ethics and work opportunities. We need to put this money, we can find money to do whatever we want to do. I mean, whatever. It's like pulling a rabbit out of a hat if it's something you want to do. And then when we get it done, then everybody wants to tout. Yeah, we got the summer program. Well, I got 1.5 months to fight for this, and I will fight with all the fiber in my body. It ain't gonna make no sense. It doesn't make no sense.
Ms. Conaway,
Depend on outside.
are we still collecting money?
We still have some money that has not been mailed to us yet.
Okay, would you please come schedule a meeting in the morning with me so we can find out what that is and get with that?
Okay, and I'd like
Please
to
do.
say that the youth program, the budget normally runs between 115 to 120. We put 50,000 in as a city, the county 25, which is 75. And then we have to get the other two entities to put their money in to make up the difference. If it was 100,000 and we got 25 from the county, that would take care of our budget every year.
Yeah, but we don't necessarily want to cut them out.
No, we don't cut it
Yeah.
out. We ask for donations.
We just want to probably do a better job of trying to make sure they pay ahead.
Out, but we cannot make an entity give the money.
Yeah.
We're asking them to donate.
We're asking them to donate.
That's the problem. That's
when
what
we started it, I personally asked an entity for the money, and we started getting it. But we can't depend on outside folk taking care of our business. Now, we can spend mega bucks on foolishness. I know we can spend $100,000 on the cover youth program. I'm getting ready to come up with
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Go back up. May I speak? We spend a lot of money. That shouldn't even be a question, $100,000 for the youth. And we finna buy 4 brand new police cars, 3 fire trucks. We just gave the singing theater, right at 14 to 15. I'm just saying, though, the youth shouldn't even be a problem.
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily a problem, sir. We're just trying to figure out where the money gonna come from.
Well-
You always have to do that.
Well, you're right, now.
Yeah.
Once we do the budget and go line by line, it may be some things in there we need to take out.
That's what I say, that we have to just figure out where the money's gonna come from.
Don't even go there with me.
Yeah. No, I think most people have told you that they support this, Ms. Hood.
Okay.
So, it's just a matter of, we have to just figure out where it's coming from.
Talk 'em out of it.
All right. No, don't talk them out of it. All right, any other questions? Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposes? Motion carries 8-0. Don't matter, ayes aye.
Okay. We have a resolution approving an agreement with Waste Management Arkansas, Inc., WMA, for a waiver of the annual residential garbage rate adjustment provided by the city's franchise.
A resolution approving an agreement with Waste Management of Arkansas for a waiver of the annual residential garbage rate adjustment provided for in the city's franchise agreement.
Move for adoption.
It's been moved and probably seconded that a resolution approving an agreement with Waste Management Arkansas, Inc. for a waiver of the annual residential garbage rate adjustment provided for in the city's purchase franchise agreement. Okay, floor is open for discussion. What Waste Management is doing is providing us with, or then effectively not increasing, passing on the cost of living adjustment, or the CPI, for this year to the citizens. So we will maintain our rate of, let me see, the rate I think is 15.59? 15.59 for another year.
Oh, well.
Not necessarily.
We're worried about tomorrow.
We definitely need to thank them for their
Absolutely,
collaboration when they
absolutely. We do thank them for being concerned about the citizens of Pine Bluff and helping us to maintain the same rate that we've had for the year 2012. All righty. Are there any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the resolution, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposers?
There was no increase.
Y'all getting a little tired and sleepy here. Everybody's a little relaxed and saying things. Okay, what's the next?
We have a resolution providing
They're waiving
for
this year's
placement of costs for correcting certain nuisances on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected.
All right, Mr. Steps. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
A resolution providing for placement of costs of correcting certain nuisances on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected as such.
I got it, I'd like to amend that, to remove the property, liquid properties that we have before you.
Did you adopt it?
Super cool smiles or something.
Would you?
Yeah, I would.
Their bill.
Move for adoption.
Well, their corporation.
Moved and probably second the resolution adopting
They negotiate 101.
a resolution providing the placement of costs of correcting certain nuisance on tax books as delinquent taxes and collecting as such. Now, Mr. Steps.
I'd like to amend that motion to remove the property from the property that you have before you.
Okay. Where's the lien, sir?
Right here.
It's like a table. I'll show it to you, but it's a table.
Okay.
There's nothing that modifies what they should have been paying.
Account bill paid in full, wrong own bill, wrong owner. Two paid in full and wrong owner. Okay, all in favor of the original, I'm sorry, all in favor of the amendment? Let it be known by saying aye. Okay.
Move for the original as amended.
The original as amended, all in favor of the original as amended, please let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposers?
We have one more.
All right.
We have a resolution adopting the Department of Economic and Community Development 2013 consolidated plan with rules and regulations as adopted with amendments by Housing and Community Development Act of 1974.
A resolution adopting the Department of Economic and Community Development's 2013 Consolidated Plan with rules and regulations as adopted with amendments by the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974.
Move for adoption.
It's been moved and properly seconded that a resolution adopting the Department of Economic and Community Development 2013 Consolidated Plan with rules and regulations as adopted with amendments by the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. Okay, this is a matter that we were discussing earlier. Are there any questions or comments regarding this particular consolidated plan? Hearing none. All in favor of the resolution, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries 8-0.
That's all I have on ordinances and resolutions.
Yes, sir. November 10th, the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff will play the Grambling State University Tigers in Grambling, Louisiana. And hopefully most of you know that the Golden Lions 1, the Western Division.
I'll be right there.
Yeah.
I'll be
Will be going to Birmingham December 8th, but first they will be going to November 10th in Grambling. So they asking for your support in Grambling, which is a 3-hour drive for most citizens.
Hopefully it won't be too cold.
November 12th, City Hall will be closed to observe Veterans Day. That's Monday, November 12th, City Hall will be closed to observe Veterans Day. Okay. And last but not least, on November 17th, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff Golden Lions will play their last home game of the season, Prairie View A&M University at 2:30 Golden Lions Stadium. Inviting all citizens to come out and cheer on the Golden Lions.
Western champion.
Western Division champion, yes. Are there any other comments or announcements?
Congratulations. We'll have to do a resolution.
Been moved and properly seconded to adjourn this meeting. Thank you for coming.